welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be talking about control. Not that control. Not that control either. This one. Yes, the famous or infamous Control, which even though a lot of this video is going to be talking about Kendrick, is a Big Sean song. Shout out Big Sean, shout out Detroit. So why, one might ask, are we talking about 2013's Control and Big 2026? Well, in 2024, Kendrick released a song called Watch the Party Die, basically talking about how it was time to let go of all of these toxic and poisonous mindsets that have been pervasive throughout our music and throughout the scene, just in the industry in general. And as of late last year, hip hop kind of fell off. It took a major downturn commercially, and there's not as many songs charting or going number one on a Billboard Hot 100 or Hot 200 or whatever. And it kind of made me think about Kendrick's influence on the game. And one of the most pivotal Kendrick moments was Control. So that's how we got here. A little long-winded, but like a little bit of a snaky thought process, but that's how we got here. So today we're gonna get into why I feel Control was so impactful at the time and the fallout immediately following it and how it holds up today. Now I'm gonna let you know ahead of time, there's gonna be some entirely necessary caping for Big Sean in this video, and I stand on all of it. So I don't wanna hear no Big Sean hate, and it's not the place for that, it's not the time for that. So we're gonna get into it. So we can kick off by talking about how Control came about, because it wasn't really a out of nowhere, spur of the moment, flash in the pan thing that just happened to pop off. This was like the tipping point for, you know what I'm saying, for a lot of things. One of which being that the state of competitiveness and rap at this time was very muted. It wasn't in high gear like it was in, say, the 90s and the 2000s, where everybody's trying to take each other's heads off. It was a lot of buddy, let's be friends, let's get this paper together, let's get this notoriety together, let's do a bunch of features, everybody cool, everybody, you know what I'm saying, gang. This is before the big three was a thing, you know what I'm saying, like Drake, Cole, and Kendrick. It was like this clear separation. They were all like kicking into gear, you know what I'm saying. Drake was gearing up for nothing, was the same at this point. Kendrick had just dropped New Kid, Mad City at this point. Cole was already established himself as, you know what I'm saying, this hip hop, you know what I'm saying, every man, the rap, you know what I'm saying, as far as like a traditional rap guy, like Cole was that. And you know what I'm saying, that's the beginning of that. As far as Big Three, it wasn't that big yet. But like I said, the competition aspect of rap was a little bit on the back burner at this point. And Kendrick, being from the cloth that he's from, kind of had to shake things up, so he felt. And again, this was not a Kendrick song. He was invited to be on the song by Big Sean. And Big Sean, you know what I'm saying, with the love for the game he has, he let the moment, you know what I'm saying, he didn't block the moment. Even though it became much bigger than him or anything related to what he was putting out. You see how I'm talking about Big Sean, I mean, talking about J. Cole and talking about Kendrick and Drake, but I still haven't, you know, I even got to Big Sean, which is a problem. But anyway, the Big Sean was a real nigga about it. He didn't want to overshadow the moment or let his ego overshadow the moment. So he ain't, you know what I'm saying, he put the verse out, he ain't bitch about it. He took it on the chin, took everybody's reactions, everybody, you know what I'm saying, discounting or overlooking his own verse on his own song. You know what I'm saying? He didn't make a big stink out of it publicly. I don't know how he felt about it privately. I would have been tight. But anyway, so So while some fans and some people mentioned in the Kendrick verse on Control felt like it was a diss, it really wasn't for real. It was more just like a mission statement, like him declaring his feelings and his intentions in the rap game, just so nobody has it mistaken. Like he's basically shouting everybody out. Everybody he named, he was shouting out. He said, I got nothing but love for y'all. But when it comes to this rap shit, I'm trying to get y'all pain. I'm trying to take all y'all fans. I'm trying to be the clear #1 king. Like this is my shit. You know what I'm saying? That was his whole vibe going into it. He specifically pretty much said all of that shit explicitly on the verse. He said, I got nothing but love for y'all, but I'm trying to murder you niggas. Make sure your core fan base never heard of you niggas. No one want to hear another word from you niggas. You know what I'm saying? Like, that was his whole idea behind his verse. So he wasn't trying to diss everybody. He was letting y'all know what time it is. And I, as an MC, I can respect that shit heavily. Like, I got a high level of respect for that mission statement, for going about it in that way. One thing I will say is that while Control was definitely successful in grabbing a lot of attention and putting certain artists in a position of pressure, I don't really feel like it lasted as long as one might hope. You know what I'm saying? The competition aspect. But, you know what I'm saying? It did make a big splash. And I hope Watch the Party Die have a similar effect. I don't know if this nigga could see stuff before it happens, or if I don't really think that the state of hip hop has anything to do with Kendrick dropping that song. Like, I don't think the song affected the charts or affected how people eat up music commercially. But I think he just sensed the shift. He just sensed the shift coming, because in the past year and a half since that song came out, so much has changed in the rap landscape. Especially that song coming on the heels of his toppling of Drake lyrically with They Battle, which I might make a video about one day. I probably will. It's just like such a historic footprint in the history of rap. And I'm a rapper, you know what I'm saying? I've been rapping for 15 years. So that shit meant something to me. That shit was beautiful to watch unfold. I didn't have a horse in the race. I didn't care who won, really. But they, you know what I'm saying, they delivered. And I gotta say, especially Kendrick, in my opinion, Kendrick really put on a clinic. Like, he... So, how was Control received by the fans? Now, in short, hit. Completely out of there, nigga. Everybody was locked in. Everybody was streaming it. Everybody was talking about it. It was one of the main things in hip-hop discourse for a long time after that, like months and months. Like, everything came back to Control. People responding who weren't mentioned. People responding who were mentioned. Fans, you know what I'm saying, discussing it. It was a big deal. Like, it was a moment. It was a canon event, and the fans treated it like it was. Like, the fans were ravenous. Like, it was the talk of the town for a long time. Like, people felt like it was a revival, like a reset button on the brain of hip hop. Like, it, you know what I'm saying, revealed a lot of people's intentions. It revealed a lot about a lot of people. Like, it shook the game up, to put it succinctly. So as it pertains to the artists, the responses were pretty varied. You had people like Big Crit or Pusha T who, you know what I'm saying, gave the verse in the moment that he created the proper due, the proper praise. You had people who redirected and, you know what I'm saying, took it to heart or didn't. Like, Drake was not a fan. He mentioned in interviews, he didn't drop a record, notably, but he mentioned in interviews that he didn't like the move. He took it personally. He took it as a diss, pretty much. And I feel like that was the root, or one of the roots of the tension between them that would end up culminating in that 2024 rap beef. Like, that was brewing, it was cooking in a pot for a long time before it bubbled over into what we ended up seeing that year. You got people, like, I know Meek Mill felt the way. Like, people were coming out. Some people came out with records, some people just came out with tweets, whatever, missing a point. But yeah, it was people who weren't feeling it. Then you had people like Lupe who just put out a response and, you know what I'm saying, served it up. Had some jabs at Kendrick. I know Joe Budden did a verse. People who weren't mentioned, but still, you know what I'm saying, shared the perspective of hip hop being competition. Some people, you know what I'm saying, weren't mentioned who probably should. Now, in this particular instance, I'm also gonna give my point of view because, like I said, I'm a rapper, I'm an artist, you know what I'm saying? I do more than just rap, but I'm a rapper, and that's where it started. At the time, I was just a rapper. I wasn't doing shit else. I wasn't producing. I wasn't singing on no records. It was just straight rap, and that's the cloth I come from. The lyrical shit, like that's all me. I had to learn all the other stuff later, the flow and the voice, and like I wasn't concerned with really none of that when I first started out. It was all bars for me. So this was right up my alley. But for me, I like the chest move, and this is something that I see every now and then in rap, or it don't have to be rap even, but sometimes I would like the move or like the thing existing more than I like the meat of it. Like for me, the verse itself, like bar wise, wasn't really that impressive or memorable in my opinion, but I really liked that he did it. I'm not even saying I wish he did it better. Like it was, cause the people, the fans ate it up. But as far as me, like I like the existence of the thing and how it impacted the game more than I like the verse itself. Like I'm not just go turn on that verse because I feel like hearing the dog ass verse. Like that's not one of the verses that comes to mind. Kendrick has tons of classic verses, and that one is one of the ones that is classic because of what it did and not necessarily what he said. Like there were parts of the verse that I just feel like the calling out was, I feel like that's what made people rate it as high as they did. The fact that he called niggas out by name and told y'all exactly what time it is. Like I think that's hard in itself. But the verse was just cool. It was cool. Like it wasn't a bad verse. I'm not saying that at all, so don't get it fucked up. But it was just cool. But people were dick riding it, and rightfully so, because of, like I said, the impact that it had and the statement that it made. A powerful statement. So it's fair. Like I'm not mad at people being on control and nuts, because in a way they should have been. And maybe it also has something to do with just my perspective of what I feel like is really good bars and what is just okay. It differs from person to person. But like I said, the cloth I'm come from is, you know what I'm saying, lyrical. To put it in perspective, Lupe is who got me into rapping. Lupe is the nigga that made me want to pick up a pen and start seeing what I could do after hearing the Cool and his first mixtapes and all that. So if we talking tiers, like that was up here. So that's where my standard, my taste was. So it could just very well be a me thing. So I don't try to put that on everybody else. I don't blame nobody for liking it or thinking it's the best thing since sliced bread or whatever. But personally, it was just cool. There's nothing wrong with it being cool. Which leads me into a very important sidebar that I feel like I need to make. When this song came out, Big Sean, for what I want to say is the first of many times in his career, got clowned unnecessarily. For my money, Big Sean had lyrically the best verse on the song. None of the verses really blew me away, for real, but there was a bunch of solid verses, good verses. And for my money, Big Sean had the best verse on the song. Zayalek also did his thing. He uses all that symbolism in his verse. But I think Sean had the best verse. And Sean got clowned because people felt like Kendrick overshadowed him, which he did, but I don't think he overshadowed him lyrically. And because Sean wasn't mentioned by Kendrick on the song, which I don't really feel like he needed to do because it was Big Sean's song. You know what I'm saying? Like him being on the song with Big Sean, I feel like is enough of a shout out to his respect for his skill level, in my opinion, just based on who Kendrick presents himself to be. So I didn't really see why people was clowning him on that aspect, but that was just the beginning of us finding out that people like to clown Sean for some reason. I don't know, because Sean had a super, super crazy run from fucking 2008, depending on, everybody got introduced to him at different times, but from 2008, 9, like all the way up to 2000, like 2017. I don't say I Decided was like his last super culturally impactful album. Big Sean had a crazy run, almost a decade, and in that run, I feel like it was people who was like wasn't really giving him his due. So shout out to Sean, bro. Shout out to Sean. And when I mention this to other people, they feel like it's just Detroit bias or y'all from the same place. It might be a little bit of that. I ain't gonna say like I'm immune to that. I will shoot bail for some niggas from Detroit. If somebody talking shit, if I see another way, see the situation another way, they might get a couple points for being from Detroit. I ain't gonna act like I'm immune to bias. But I also don't think that the opinion leans on bias. You know what I'm saying? Might be a little sprinkle, a little dab, but I feel how I feel. I stand on it. Sean is nice, nigga. As of this point, up to this point in recording this, I have not listened to Control in years, but I will while I'm recording this, so I can have a very fresh take on how I feel about it today, and see how my feelings on it today measure up to how I felt about it when it first came out. All right, so real quick, I'm not gonna spend a whole bunch of time on this, but just giving a couple of my thoughts, updated thoughts, 2026 thoughts on it. I haven't heard this track in a minute, like I said. I still like Big Sean's verse. Still feel like Big Sean had a solid verse. But I will say that Kendrick's first half of his verse was better than I remember giving it credit for. Like, I was rocking with the first half of his verse. So as far as what I was saying about being underwhelmed by the verse, now that I'm listening again, I really feel like I was talking about the second half of the verse. Once he starts with the names and then starts talking about your granddad being drunk with arthritis, flying a plane, kamikaze parachute as a condom attached to a dreadlock shit, all that shit, I still feel like that shit wasn't good. It was just chatting to me. But the first half, he was fucking going in. So I wanna say that for the record. Like, sometimes I wonder what how the verses would be reviewed or ranked if Kendrick wasn't taking shots or calling people out, rather, how it would be viewed. Because I feel like the parts of the bars where he was calling people out, he was just calling my name. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't really a lot of lyrical complexity or depth to it. And it don't have to be. I'm just saying, I wonder how people would have received it, how people would have ranked those verses without the call-outs. I don't think it would have been nearly as impactful or memorable of a song without those call-outs. But just as a rap fan, sometimes I think about shit like that. So how do people feel like Control holds up today? I feel like people feel about it kind of similarly to how I do, besides not entirely liking the end of Kendrick's verse. But I feel like people thought it did exactly what it was supposed to do. People still hold it in really high regard. I think while people don't actively criticize the end of the verse like I would or I might, I feel like people still do kind of feel like it was more about the moment, more of a call out than actually what, you know what I'm saying, what was being said in the verse, like the bars, which is fine. Like, I feel like some situations merit that. I don't think it's disparaging. I don't think it's a bad thing necessarily. But yeah, I feel like fans really respect it as a moment. They respect that he did it. And it kind of solidified Kendrick's spot as, if not the top dog, as somebody who was coming for that position. And he followed through on that shit. Like you ain't never really seen before. Like, we gonna cover the Kendrick beef at some point. I just want to figure out what kind of angle I want to take to make the video, so I'm not making the same video as everybody else. so much Kendrick and Drake content in the past year, bro. Honestly, I need a break before I can even think about diving into that on some content shit, because it was a lot oversaturated. Everybody made bands off that shit. But yeah, that's Control in a nutshell. Big ass nutshell. This video went on for a lot longer than I initially anticipated, but those are my thoughts on it. So, you feeling this? You welcome, encouraged to like and subscribe. You know what I'm saying? Comment. Let me know your thoughts, how you feel about Control, how did you feel about it when it first came out. And yeah, see y'all next time.